definitely isn't a plane.
This video was sent to Fox 7 by Gus McGibbon.
A mystery in the night sky. What some say are drones, lots of them, but no one seems to know from where or why.
That little dot right there.
Jennifer Rollins was visiting family in Yuma County the day after Christmas when she spotted the flying objects, capturing this one on camera.
It's just hovering.
The federal government now admits there's stuff flying in the sky that they cannot explain.
My feeling is that there is clearly something there.
Sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena clustered around U.S. training grounds that maneuver abruptly at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion.
It is real. That's no longer a point of conjecture.
Officials from the Federal Aviation Administration say there were no aircraft incidents or accidents in this area Tuesday night, but multiple witnesses report seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean.
Something is in the sky. What is that?
This video was taken by Misitina Sape at 8:26 Tuesday night near Haleakala Avenue in Nanakuli. Not long after, a woman named Mariah spotted the same thing passing over Princess Kahanu Estates.
I don't know, I looked up. And then I was like, oh, started calling my husband in because we was all in the garage. I was like, hey, so look up there. See what I see. They all said, yeah.
The 38-year-old says she's never really been a believer in UFOs, but the bright blue object had them so intrigued they jumped in the car and started following it.
I don't know what it was. This one was going so fast.
The journey ended less than 3 miles from where it began on Farrington Highway in front of the Board of Water Supply building after the object appeared to drop into the ocean.
Oh, the land in the water, whatever it is.
She described it as being larger than a telephone pole and says she never heard it make any sound.
We called 911 if I have like one cop or somebody for come out and come check them out.
While officers were on scene, she says they spotted a second light.
My husband went look up and he seen the white one coming. The white one was smaller, was coming in the same direction as the blue one.
They lost sight of the object after it passed over a nearby mountain.
A UFO over North Carolina that appeared to subdivide not once, but twice, west of London. The passenger in a parked car notices something that appears to be a couple of helicopters or drones. But then, look at this. They seem to split into 5 or 6 smaller objects and then perform a series of coordinated maneuvers. And it isn't the only video like this coming out of England.
I've spoken to quite a few individuals who have been taken on board craft that believe the craft is actually alive. Not just the occupants of the craft, but the craft itself. The assumption is that the craft may in fact be sentient as well.
Almost 300 miles away in Sunderland, a beachgoer catches this on camera. Here, 2 bright orbs loop across the sky and seem to divide. It looks kind of like fireworks at first, but then watch. The split orbs proceed to conduct similar coordinated maneuvers just like the Warminster video. They remind journalist and author Alexis Brooks of other first-hand accounts.
In the field of ufology, there is something, in fact, called UFO mitosis. Objects that are seen first as one and then replicating themselves and following a similar trajectory. This could be what we're seeing.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. And so, you know, I think that people still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is.
Mr. Obama says UFOs were actually one of the first things he asked about after taking office, but he did not say whether he thought UFOs were alien in origin. Congress will be briefed next month.
Quebec, 2018. A French-speaking family is on an outing enjoying a cloudless day when they notice something in the sky and start recording. A bizarre object rotates slowly, seeming to shine bright red and green lights as it turns. We push in and stabilize the image to get a better look. As the image comes into focus, you don't have to speak French to grasp the family's astonishment.
C'est quoi?
On voit.
Hey, c'était vraiment nice.
On le voit?
The family grows increasingly certain they've spotted something extraordinary. And check this out. At moments, it looks like this thing is flaming, something we've never seen before. Is it a craft burning off fuel as it ascends into space? Journalist MJ Banias, a Canadian himself, says his homeland does a thorough job of recording such incidents.
Canada has a significant UFO history. We're one of the few countries that actually logs and collects UFO data on a yearly basis and then publishes the results of those findings. There are more sightings of UFOs over Quebec than in any other Canadian province.
Whatever this thing is, it's not making any noise, and it's not clear how it stays aloft.
The object is quite curious to me because it seems to have no visible means of propulsion, maybe even exhibiting anti-gravity properties. It's sort of just suspended in air and for a period of time. So this very well could be something not of this world.
The Department of Defense held its first public congressional hearing on UFOs. You hear UFO and you're probably thinking about aliens, Martians, E.T., Spielberg, phone home, but it is a lot more serious than that.
Unidentified aerial phenomena are a potential national security threat, and they need to be treated that way. For too long, the stigma associated with UAPs has gotten in the way of good intelligence analysis. Pilots avoided reporting or were laughed at when they did.
Since last year, a government task force confirms it has received about 400 reports of UFOs, and they think that is partially due to reducing the stigma surrounding actually seeing a UFO. Lawmakers are concerned that these unidentified objects could be foreign adversaries sending next-generation technology into our airspace, hence the national security threat. So, you might be wondering, how common are UFO sightings here in Georgia? The National UFO Reporting Center has logged more than 2,500 sightings in our state since the 1940s. The latest sighting was actually in Dallas, and that occurred last month.
Those recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs. For the first time, radar images recorded inside a Navy ship have confirmed the presence of several unknown objects that swarmed around the ship for hours. I-Team reporter George Knapp here with a story that broke today on Mystery Wire.
Thanks, Brian. Over the past 3 years or so, the public has been able to see several astounding images of what certainly qualify as UFOs during encounters with the U.S. Navy. There's no question that the Pentagon has censored data to go along with the photos and videos, but none of that information has been leaked or otherwise released. That is, until today.
For 2 long hours on the night of July 15, 2019, the crew of the USS Omaha detected on multiple sensor systems unknown objects that surrounded the ship as it moved through ocean waters west of San Diego. One of the objects, a self-illuminated sphere at least 6 feet in diameter, flew alongside the Omaha for an extended period and was observed through a thermal sensor in the ship's combat center. Filmmaker Jeremy Corbell released the Navy video weeks ago and says similar events were reported by 8 other Navy ships in the same area over 3 days.
Mark bearing and range. There was numerous warships that are having similar it appears to be coordinated interaction, and this whole series was within this kind of, I'd say, circumference of 100 miles, and there was up to 50 to 100 contacts.
In the last 3 years, the Pentagon has reluctantly confirmed the legitimacy of UFO images captured by Navy ships and air crews, including these photos taken off the coast of Virginia and the better-known videos, the so-called Tic Tac incident and the gimbal. But other than the images themselves, there's been no release of censored data to buttress these cases. There is now.
Well, if you can write a general lat long where we're at, and the number of contacts you got, get the course and speed meters off.
Over a period of hours, crew members on the USS Omaha, which is located in the center of this radar screen, monitored the approach of the unknown objects, as many as 14 at one point, all around the ship. 2 different radar systems watched the objects and estimated their speed.
Track 781 just sped up to 46 knots, 50 knots, closing in.
perfectly 000 relative, right? Yeah.
Corbell obtained the images from sources he declines to identify. The Pentagon's UAP task force considers the Omaha spheres to be true unknowns. The ships that were under observation by the unknowns were unable to track where they came from or where they disappeared to. The Omaha sphere appears to have vanished into the ocean.
What? Splashed.
At that point, it also vanished from all sensors. In one video snippet, 9 of the objects were seen around the Omaha, but 2 of them dropped off, somehow invisible to 2 radar systems.
And it supports the hypothesis that these are not just a balloon dropping into the water, or it's not something that is easily explained. These are true unidentifieds in mass number, and we'll talk more about that, but that's what we're showing people, where you have radar data that goes with FLIR data, what everybody has been belly aching for. So here you go.
If these are foreign-made high-tech drones, how do they fly with no wings, rotors, or detectable exhaust? Do they possess some sort of cloaking ability? The sensor data, combined with the video images, raises difficult questions.
These are unidentified. We don't know what they are. Everybody tries to corner me in saying they're aliens or something like this. I have no idea.
They track as best you can.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
The video of the radar screens consists of 4 clips that were spliced together to show that this went on over a period of time. Today, less than 4 hours after that video was made public by us, a Pentagon spokesperson confirmed it is legit, that it was recorded by Navy personnel and is in the hands of the UAP task force. That's the unit created to prepare a report for Congress that is due.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're jumping straight in here today. So I got 2 video clips to show you from Indonesia. That's what you're seeing right here. This was taken in June of this year. Obviously you see an object that's floating back there. In the background, he kind of zooms in and out on this, and I'll actually zoom in on this in just a minute and then also slow it down as well. So it's pretty obvious that whatever this is, it is saucer shaped or disc shaped. And as I mentioned, this was taken in June of this year, 2022, in case you're watching this video several years down the road. And it's pretty interesting because finding the whole clip is always difficult to do. But slowing this down just a little bit, you guys see that he's kind of zooming in and out. And whatever this is just kind of just floating there. Trying to get the whole clip, but you guys know sometimes that's pretty difficult. You can only get so much when so much information is put out there for this. But you guys see there, zooming in, it is disc shape, and I have one more. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. I don't know what to make of this one. It does kind of remind me of, in a way, of the sport model that Bob Lazar has talked about. I know that's kind of referenced a lot on this channel, but a lot of these crafts do seem to be shaped like that. So maybe this is something that they actually were successfully able to reverse engineer, and they're kind of flying in different parts of the world. I don't know, but this one's actually pretty interesting. So put your comments down below of what you think about this particular video clip here, because it is pretty interesting. When you zoom in more, it just looks a little bit more distorted, of course. And then there's another clip too. See a lady there on a bike. This guy looks up and he sees this object just floating there in the sky, and that's interesting too. And then he kind of zooms in on it, and you can see, of course, it's going to be saucer shaped, which I'll show you guys again. There, you see it there. So slowing it down and then trying to zoom in on it, it does seem like it has a very faint glow underneath it. As you guys see, as this zooms in, you'll start to see that. He looks back down, he looks back up, and he starts to try to zoom in on it, which is good because we actually have references to other objects too. Some of you guys with the good calculations can probably tell how far it was in the sky and probably how large it was based off of a couple of things there. But here it is kind of zoomed in. You guys will see this here. So pretty interesting stuff. These videos are starting to come out a lot more. You guys can see kind of that circular bottom underneath it. It's kind of a faintish blue. It's kind of hard to tell because the video quality isn't the best in the world, but you guys see that there and it's kind of tilting up at an angle. So that's pretty interesting. Put your comments down below of what you guys think about this. And I'm kind of gonna poop UFO because you guys will see why. Yeah, it just did that for real. It really just did that. Don't know what this dropped. This is just sitting here, and this one was taken in Canada. You see this object floating there, and then something just drops out of it. Of course, it is disc-shaped. This actually reminds me of some of the shaped UFOs or UAPs we saw back, or we heard about in the 50s, 60s, and probably early 70s. But whatever this dropped out of it is, I have no idea. I don't know if it's trash or anything, and I would like to know more of the location to just being in Canada, because it'd be interesting if I saw this drop and I was filming this. I would go over there and see what it was that dropped out, because obviously it may be some kind of disposal park or something, or maybe you guys saw this video clip before. I think this is my first time actually seeing this, and there it is right there. Whatever it is, it just dropped straight out like it is trash.